All right, I believe now it's time for our illustrious Sergeant at Arms.
Hey, welcome everybody. Today, do we have any visiting Rotarians?
I know one. Mike, you're muted.
Oh.
Mike, the president of Noonday.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Do we have any guests today?
Doug's with us, Doug Berry.
Welcome, Doug. All right, guys, it is my favorite time. It is brag dollars. Who would like to be first?
I'll go in for $1.
Okay.
Oh, did I mess somebody up?
No, Lisa, you go first.
Okay, I just wanted to brag on our garden. It has been incredible this year. I know a lot of you have been following on Instagram and Facebook and seeing a lot of the stuff, but we have had a busy summer. It continues with more tomatoes and okra. And so I'll just go ahead and give money to Rotary because I'm thankful we've had a really good garden year.
Fantastic. I want a tomato.
Okay.
So does this mean we're going to get a big pot of gumbo?
Ew, really? Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. All right, who is next?
All right, I want to brag. Philomena's oldest daughter and son-in-law and 2 grandsons are here. There's their second week. They're leaving Sunday, but today is the youngest one. It's his 12th birthday, which means he's eligible to go to whitewater rafting this weekend, and that's where we're taking them.
Aww.
I've got one. Had a healthy 7-pound, 14-ounce grandchild born yesterday. So looking forward to meeting him this weekend.
Congratulations.
Oh, yay, that's great.
Yay.
Congratulations.
That's great. Since you're talking about gardens, I want to show you a hydrangea that grew up in our yard. It's 14 inches tall.
Wow.
And it is 40 inches around, and it's 14 inches across. So that's a big thing.
Do you know how hard those are to grow?
They're gorgeous.
We have about 14 different kinds of hydrangea plants in our yard.
That's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Bonnie. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Mary. Hey, baby.
All right, do we have any additional brag dollars?
Well, I survived hiking Mount LeConte the last 2 days.
Awesome.
Pat Fuller.
That ought to be worth $10, Pat.
Listen, I'm feeling it today.
Love it. Love it.
I have $1. A very dear friend is putting 3 households into one and moving into one of the 3. And in the process, she had an electric piano, 88 keys, weighted, the whole thing, and she gave that to me. We dug out some music, and all of a sudden there's memories just flowing from being a little child sitting at a piano and getting John Thompson's book #1.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That's wonderful. These are some great brag dollars today, guys. I'm impressed. We're getting our number up again. I like this. Do we have any more? All right, going once, going twice. On to our lottery pick this week. Was a hard decision, but Andy Anderson, you are a lucky winner. You are the golden star this week. Congratulations. It's not every day this happens. So thank you for your time as a Rotarian and for being a part of this wonderful group. Awards are all fake, but maybe one day we'll create some to give out. So following, we have our question of the day, and that is, okay, how much money did Rotary recently give to help communities worldwide respond to COVID-19? A, 10 million, B, 20 million, C, 30 million, D, 40 million, and E, 50 million. Any guesses?
Andy, you got to unmute.
$30.
There he is.
30? No, you're very close. It was 20 million. But very close.
Yeah, but
Nice
10
try.
more.
All right, guys. I'm real excited. We're going to, I'm going to quickly go over something that I've been working on for the virtual gala. We had an awesome member present this idea, and then Lisa Guerin and I have further established the idea and kind of just ran with it, took it and ran. So the theme for this year's virtual gala is Real to Real. Real as in a movie reel, R-E-E-L. And the premise of this is to kind of have like a black and white, old school type vibe where we're still paying tribute to Rotary and the gala throughout the years. And it kind of intros with the very, we're gonna do a nice video to present this idea. And we'll have promotional items as well, permitting later on in the week and into next week, and we'll go over that later as well. But the idea is basically where we're entering with the movie theme. We have a countdown for the video. Ty will intro the video. You know, even though we're not doing an actual gala, we still have a virtual gala, and it's still really important to the community and to a lot of members around. We also did videos with Habitat, the Salvation Army, and the Caring Place, and they all turned out wonderful, and those will be posting as well in conjunction with our video. And Ty will then, once he's done with his introduction, we'll pass it on to every member, basically in the group. It'll go on, and it's basically, he'll end with, he'll ask, what word comes to mind when you think of Rotary or the impact Rotarians have had on the community? And it'll pass by each one of you with one word that you think reflects that. And then we'll transition out into color, and we'll end with our four-way test, different members reciting a line from the four-way test. So in order to make this wonderful and a great intro, black and white, reel to reel video, I will need everyone, or mostly everyone who would like to participate, to send me just a snippet of one word of you just smiling into the camera, holding the phone this way, just saying the word that when you think of Rotary, that word comes to your mind. And we'll kind of pan by each member. So you'll have 4 seconds of fame, and then it'll move to someone else. But that way we're really getting everyone involved and included, and kind of showing the community what Rotary means to us and how we've evolved throughout the years. And we have some other ideas to tie into this. We really want to push this out. We really want to do hashtags and things that reflect Get Real Gala, Gala Gets Real, BSR Gets Real, and kind of also include this with other things in our community, with the other aspects. Tammy from Habitat gave us an awesome shout out, and we would love to include her in that video in our theme as well.
And we have a scheduled date, a target.
Yeah, we do.
We have a date.
We do. We have moved the date to the week of October 5th, that beginning of October, into the 16th, 17th, that Friday. So we have moved the date to have more time to post out. We'll have tons of things coming your way, promotional materials, graphics, brochures. We'll also have videos as well that I would really love for you guys to share and to participate. And even if you aren't able to take the video yourself, or you're not comfortable doing that and not familiar with how to send, Jerry had mentioned that you are welcome to come to his office, and he will shoot the quick 4-second, 5-second clip of you and send to me as well. So if you're not able to do it, technology is not your thing, But you still would like to participate. Jerry Shannon has said that he will allow people to come to his office for that as well.
Thank you very much, guys. Katie and Lisa have done absolutely wonderful work on this. So if you don't mind, let's give them a hand of applause. All right. Andy, do you care to give an update on where we are? You have to.
Sure. We have $45,450. We set a goal of $55,000, which is $1,500 more than last year. We are short $9,550. I have contacted every Bradley Sunrise Rotarian via telephone, email, text, or all of the above. I'm waiting to hear from 10 Rotarians. If those Rotarians come in, we will beat the goal. 45,450.
Great job, Andy. Fantastic job. All right. Next, one little item of business real quick. I have people who will contact me by text message, and I greatly appreciate the text messages, but I don't have everyone in my phone. So when you send me a message, just in case, say this is who it is. I will add you to my phone list, but I've gotten a couple of messages lately. I hate to say it, I have no idea who they are, and I don't have time to go looking up phone numbers. So if you don't mind doing that for me, I would appreciate it. And Jim, you had something to say?
Yeah, this is about the company that can help with virtual events. They usually have these trips and things for auction, and they've got a thing scheduled for everyone that wants to be there at 5 o'clock today. They'll do everything to help you run an event, or just have software that helps you with the auction, where you can have a lot of people. You can sign up with your credit card, and so if someone bids, you know who they are and you know who the final bidder is. We don't have to use them. I'm not pushing it, but they've been around the nonprofit world for a long time, and their business obviously got changed a lot. So they started this, but and I sent Ty a link on it and a virtual demonstration. He can send you the link out if you can meet there. Just Zoom meet at 5 o'clock.
That's today.
Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. I think that's what we will try to. Anybody who can, let me know, and we'll get that sent to you. All right, Jim, do you want to introduce our speaker?
One quick thing, Ty, before Jim does it. Don't forget shoe boxes. We are collecting stuff, and since it's back to school right now, there are some bargains in supplies. Pick them up, and we will establish a place where you can drop them off. So shoebox time, start collecting. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Is there any other business we need to cover before we move on? We did approve the budget. Jim, are you going to try to send that out so the membership can review it?
Yes, I can do that. Or I'll send it to Cheryl so she can send it to everybody. Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. We'll hang on just a second, Katie. We'll do that, guys. We will look over the budget, and if we get it, should get it in the next couple of days, and then we will vote. Let's plan on voting to approve it next week, or discuss it if somebody has something to discuss about it. Okay, Katie.
Oh, I was just going to say, Lisa wanted to speak on behalf of service projects real quick.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lisa.
No, it's okay. Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate, thank you, Joyce, for bringing that up. Also, this Friday, we're supposed to be at Habitat on Franitza Way. We're going to be working, it's my understanding, outdoors, doing some of the siding. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan. So I do need a few more people. I've gotten a pretty good response, but as you know, we like to have at least 8, 10, 12 people there to help. And this year, Habitat has had kind of a decrease in volunteers for obvious reasons. So we have stepped up and done a couple of extra builds, more than we normally do in a given year. So if any of you can come out tomorrow from 8 to noon and help us out, that would be amazing. And thanks to Rotarians as well that have dropped off items to the Salvation Army. Ruthie has, you've probably seen in the email, requested that we bring in some toiletries for them, some shampoos and soaps and things that they use for their homeless population that comes in and eats and showers there. So thank you for those of you that have dropped that off. And again, we are also working on Operation Christmas Child. So get creative on how to get some of those items for us as well. That's it.
Thank you very much. No one else? Jim, sir, if you'll take it away.
I think everyone knows who our speaker is today. He doesn't need much of an introduction, but before he is, let's say, the president of the Chamber of Commerce, but before that, he was the president of was the area president of First Horizon or First Tennessee at the time. And then he was also, some of you may or may not know, chairman of the board of Erlanger Hospital for a while. He's probably grateful that he's not there right now. And anyway, he is going to talk to us today, I am sure, give us lots of information about what's going on in Bradley County and Cleveland as far as the commercial side and the problems they're facing with the virus. So, Mike, it's yours. Mike, you need to unmute.
There you go. Hear me now? Okay, am I good?
Yes, you're good.
Okay,
Mike.
all right, thanks. No, it's funny you mentioned Erlanger, and it's kind of a mixed feeling I rolled off that board on December the 9th, and after serving for 8 years, and last year was a very, very trying year. You know, we had to change CEOs and a lot of drama, I guess. Seems like there's always drama down there, but I had lunch on Friday with the chief of staff and the chief legal officer just to catch up with them. And, you know, you get to know people like that. You get to know guys like that and become friends. And it was again, just kind of a mixed bag feeling. You know, I miss the people and the mission and everything, but I'm thankful that I'm not on the board anymore. But anyway, to start out, I kind of would like to talk about Rotary for just a second. I'm sitting here looking at Ty's face, but you know, Ty and I live on the same street, and we've had conversations about being president together, probably for what, Ty, 2 or 3 years. And
yeah.
You know, we had big plans about going to Hawaii to our convention, and you know, we were just gonna have a great time, but it seems like the world got in the way of those plans, and so many things have changed. You know, our pets was canceled, our convention was canceled, our meetings, you know, have changed so much. And to kind of touch on that, I understand you guys are still Zoom only, I guess is the way to put it. We went to Zoom meetings, I guess, in mid-April after taking a couple weeks off, sort of after March when everything kind of shut down. We picked back up with Zoom. And then in June, we started meeting. The museum reopened, and that's where we meet. And so we started meeting without meals. We decided just to meet, you know, face-to-face, social distancing, but no meals. And we did that throughout the whole month of June. First week in July, we passed the gavel, and I had my first meeting and as president, and then the museum shut down. And so we went back, and we had meals too, the first week in July. And we had started with boxed lunches. And then, so went back to Zoom only. Now we started back on Tuesday with meals again, back at the museum. And we're averaging probably, I see y'all got a great turnout. We're averaging, I think yesterday or Tuesday, we had 27 people physically there, and I want to say 30 people, not that many, 26 or 7 on Zoom. We were about 51 or 52 there present. We normally average around 75 or so. So we're down a little bit, and that's sort of, I've told my club, that's sort of my goal this year, is to sort of hopefully heal and to bring people back. I made a few comments at the first. We've had a couple of deaths in the club in July, and I appreciate y'all reaching out on those. But you know, healing and bringing everybody back. And I think, and I'm getting ready to start talking about the chamber, but it relates to Rotary as well. You know, what does our future look like? And, you know, how long will we have, because you guys will eventually start meeting again in person again. And how long do we keep that Zoom option alive? Do we keep it alive forever? Is that going to be a new way of life for us? It's kind of fun. I mean, I've really enjoyed sitting here watching your club this morning and watching your fellow with his hydrangea. I mean, that, you know, he's not going to bring that to the Rotary meeting. I mean, it's a different touch, but I think the main thing is the fellowship is still here. Even virtually, your fellowship is still here, and it shows very strongly for your club. And I know ours is the same way. But you still miss that human touch, and I have to tell you, it feels so good to see people's faces. And so I'm just hoping for the day that we can be back 100% and kind of put this all behind us. And my goal is to have that day come before the end of our Rotary year, Ty. So that'll be hopefully by June 30th. And I think that's a fair goal. You know, that's not pushing. I'll take it in December. I'll take that change whenever it comes. But to divert back to the chamber, because that's what y'all asked me to speak on. And I thank you for, I think I spoke to your club almost a year ago when I first had taken over the job at the chamber. And Rotary, good Rotary speakers are very, very important. So I appreciate y'all having the faith to bring me back and to hope that I can keep y'all entertained for a few minutes this morning. But so how has the pandemic affected the Chamber of Commerce? I guess when we go back to March, I want to keep going to mid-March is kind of when everything struck. And we closed our offices. First thing we did was we closed our offices. I can tell you that me and Doug spent a lot of time together because he and I decided or made the choice not to work from home. We sent everybody else home. And Bernadette came in almost every day. So it was really the three of us. And that was a personal choice. You know, I can't really work from home. I just don't feel like I can motivate myself to be productive there, especially with my fur babies that want all of my attention. So I chose to come in here. Doug came in here. Doug stayed really busy. I'm not just saying that because he's on the call, although I appreciate him calling in this morning. But so we kind of carried on from here. The very first thing we did is we divided up our membership. We have over 700 chamber members. And the first thing I said, well, the other first thing that happened was, and I'm sure this is true for everyone on this call, our calendars just emptied. You know, all of the events, all of the meetings, everything just stopped. So all of a sudden you've got nowhere to be, nowhere to go. You know, what's your purpose, I guess? And I told the staff, I said, whatever happens here, getting through this time, and I believe it's been a good mantra to follow, is that I want our members to know that we were here for them. I want to do things for them. I want to support them. And one of the first things we did, we divided up all of our members. Again, we've got over 700 members. And so we broke out a list between all of us, and people, of course, most everyone was working from home. And so we started making phone calls, just checking in, asking our members, are you open? Have you changed your hours? If you're closed, when do you plan to reopen? And we put that stuff up on our website. We created a page so that people could go to see like what restaurants were open or what retailers were open or closed. Primarily, you know, targeting, I guess, small businesses. And that was very, very helpful. And I think our members really, really appreciated that. Also talking to them about all the different stimulus options and who to call. A lot of people were calling us, and we were referring them to their banks, you know, for whichever stimulus items that they were going to try to get. I guess, and I have to give Joel Henderson complete credit for this. He takes care of all of our marketing, social media. He created what he named Curbside Conversations. And he eventually had close to 85 or 90 of these, I would say they were visits. He would go to, some he would call and schedule an appointment, but a lot of these he would, and this happened after coming down the road a little bit. We brought the staff back in mid-May. And so Joel had kind of been formulating this idea. And so I'd say in May, he started making these visits, and he would just pull up in front of a business, and the owner or manager or whoever would come out to the curb, and he would just interview him, just do a little flash interview. It might last 4 minutes, 5 minutes, and let that owner tell what's going on with his business. Again, hours of operation, what changes may have occurred, and those were so popular and so appreciated and so helpful, I think, to our small businesses. And I think everybody remembers back when a lot of restaurants were doing takeout, carry out, back when they were all closed. And so that was that gave them an opportunity to showcase what they had going on. And I really appreciate Joel for that. And so what we've really started doing as well now, currently, Lisa Pickle and I went out last week, and this is going to kind of go into our rotation, but going out and just doing checkups, just walking in, and most people, most businesses are back open, and letting them tell a story. And doing that, we called on like 10 different businesses last week, and of those 10 people, I think 5 of them had visits by Joel, and they went and they reminded us how important that was to them, how much they appreciated that. And one of the ladies said, up at Perry's Petals, I'll give you that example. She said that it was Mother's Day when he came by, and that I think her grandson, they decided to let the grandson do the interview. So the grandson went outside, and he said something, and he mentioned something about Mother's Day. And we're open for business, and don't forget Mother's Day. And she said the phone just started ringing, and from people seeing that on Facebook or either on our website. So again, those are just things that I think were very helpful. The other thing, I got a phone call from one of my board members, and she said, "Is there something else y'all can do for small businesses? We are hurting." And she said, "It doesn't matter how big or how small, but even if it was a $500 grant, it would be worth taking the time and going through the motions and filling out the paperwork." And so Bernadette and I sat down, and as most of y'all know, we had our Momentum campaign. It's been 2 years ago now, and actually that was before I worked for the chamber, and I was the co-chair of that campaign. And during that campaign, well, we raised $1.6 million, and that was to be paid over 5 years, or that was an option. And so we went through our list, and there's different in that campaign, dollars were designated for certain areas. And so we went through and looked at dollars that had already been collected that had not been spent. And for one example, we had allocated dollars for a renovation to our back office, and we were able to get that done, but for much less. And so that was one area. We had earmarked some money for downtown redevelopment. So we sort of took money from different buckets, and we came up with a fund and went out there, and we were lucky that there were several other chambers that had sort of done similar things. And so we had some help looking at different paperwork and stuff to come up with the grant materials. But we put that out there, and 23 businesses, primarily small businesses. At first, we were not going to open it up to nonprofits, but then we decided that because of the request, there were, I think, 6 nonprofits, and we decided that we had the money and that we didn't want to exclude anybody. So we went ahead and accepted those. We were able to help every single business, and some of them were, the maximum was only 2,500. So this wasn't, a bottomless supply, but I was so proud that we could help every single business. And there were a couple there that we didn't do the full amount for them, just based on their situation and maybe some of the other, I guess, funding that they had gotten, because that was one of the questions we asked, did you receive other stimulus funding? But anyway, again, the couple that we had to minimize were, or that we didn't give the full amount to, we're so thankful for it. And that one board member who had asked us to do that requested $500, and we all voted to give her $2,500 because and I went back and asked her that, and she said that she wanted to make sure that there was enough funds for everyone. So I appreciated her, and I was thankful that we could help her. So now where are we at today? Bernadette and I had a meeting yesterday, and I think, kind of like we were talking about Rotary, like, when do we get back to normal? We have, we just canceled, our Mel Bedwell Award luncheon that's done for Small Business Person of the Year. That was, we're going to do that virtually. And LeaderCast, we decided to cancel it. LeaderCast is normally in May, and they went ahead and filmed it, and we're going to give it to us to play, I guess, live to a live audience. And we had scheduled that for October, and we decided to go ahead, and luckily we were able to, I think that cost the chamber like $8,000, and we were able to put that money towards next year and just cancel this year's program. And in the meantime, Aaron and Bernadette are developing a 4-part leadership series that we're going to run through virtually for 4 weeks in October, which would be the same time frame that we were planning on doing the LeaderCast, but to give out some and look for, maybe have a leader from the manufacturing segment, leader from one of our, maybe somebody from Cleveland State or Lee University, or maybe from the City or County schools, and but just have a diverse group of leaders, that proven leaders in Cleveland that can maybe give some knowledge out to our members, and I think that's gonna be work very well. So our question now is, how do we remain relevant? I think we've done the job of being here for our members, but how do we remain important to our members? How do we retain those 700 plus members? We know we're going to lose some. Just like Rotary, we've lost a couple of Rotarians because their businesses have either closed or they're watching their budget or whatever. And I know that Rotary International is really concerned about that. Well, the chamber's really concerned too. We've got to stay important. We've got to give options. This might not go away. I've heard that people say that, this virus is just one of many. There's going to be more viruses to come. Are we going to go about our business? I pray every day that we will, but are we going to get back to normal to where, I can walk up and hug somebody's neck or shake somebody's hand? And I'm already bad about shaking hands anyway now, but but it hurts, and it hurts to see some of our members that, when will they feel comfortable coming back to a Rotary meeting? If if their health is compromised, it might be a long time. And so that's the same way we feel about the chamber world. We're doing our coffees virtually, and that's just like this meeting is here this morning. The coffees have been very successful doing them virtually. We have our members even wanting to sponsor those, pay to sponsor them. So that's good. But again, I think that's our dilemma right now, is just trying to figure out, what tomorrow looks like. When can we hope? And that's the thing that is the puzzle right now, is knowing when we can plan things, just like you guys talking about your gala. What about our annual meeting in January? Do we need to already start thinking about that? But anyway, so that's about where we are. I'll open it up for any questions.
Anyone have questions for Mike?
Mike, I know they announced $12.3 million in permits in the paper, and I know construction is going well here. But what about things that are happening? Like even Doug may be able to talk about what's going on as far as new people coming in. We do not have Paul Huff Parkways still expanding. They're grading out there for a strip center and a couple of restaurants, I think. So, yeah. But just what's kind of on the horizon from either one of you?
We're very thankful. We call that the food court up there on Paul Huff. Where McAllister's and all those restaurants opened up. I think we got 10 new chamber members out of that. But and like you said, Jim, more to come, or more coming. And I will let Doug speak for a minute about, I think we're so thankful to be in this community, because we are still growing, and I know our unemployment numbers are dropping back down, and the recovery here, I think, will come swifter than it will in other areas. But Doug, do you want to speak to maybe what's going on in your world?
Sure, I can give them a quick comment or two. I think if you look at Paul Huff, we have our last major tract of land being developed. And of course, I'm pretty sure the word's out. Panda Express is one of the site locations for that new development area. And then I think National Tool is also, or Harbor Freight Tools actually, is the other tenant that's going in there. So we can all go get our disposable tools from them. I had one out near my home in Knoxville, and I was a frequent attendee of that facility, kind of like I am here with our hardware, Ace Hardware store. But in addition to that, one of the things that we've been focused on, and amazingly so, is that we have a couple of our smaller retailers that are here established in the community are actually thinking about expanding and setting up second locations. I'm actually working with 2 right now, trying to find the proper piece of land and location for them. And that is hard. Everything's trying to concentrate on Paul Huff, and it's just tight landscape. And what's left is certainly not cheap, as you know, those of you in real estate would know. We do have some activity. We're trying to reach out and explore what we can do with Exit 20 and the commercial areas there. I think COVID's going to really hurt the progress on commercial development at Exit 20. But there is a new Crown automotive store going up. That's going to be about 70,000 square feet of space, I think. So it's a very large complex. It'll be behind the Toyota based, if you're looking at it from the interstate. But that's a good indicator. It'll free up some space on the south end near our offices, which we hope to begin working with the city on trying to do some corridor improvements between basically Inman Street back to APD 40 on the south end. There's some good opportunity for development. I think those of you that travel down that road have seen that we've had a couple of supply houses built this year. That's all a reflection of I've been bragging about for the last 10 years, and that's that we have a very diverse economy that tends to have shallower dips and more consistent, sustained, slow growth. We're still on track with our 2010 projections that we made in our strategic plan. We're a 1% a year community. That's our average growth rate, and it's pretty consistently staying between 0.9 and 0.1%, or 0.9, yeah, and 1.1%. On the industrial front, we've just initiated construction, a grading project on our third lot in Spring Branch. We've master planned our largest site to hold a 900,000 square foot building, an Amazon or Whirlpool scale facility. And we're received a $1 million grant from the state and actually entered into contracts this week with a grading contractor to lay out a site for a 350,000 square foot building. I currently have 3 companies looking at that site. 2 of which I'm not sure we're prepared to sell to them yet, primarily because of how their buildings would lay out and how it would affect the remainder of that site. But we're exploring other site locations for them. Some cool things, I think, for us and continuing our diversification efforts is I hosted my first site visit since COVID hit yesterday. It was a company out of, has current operations in Georgia that's looking at an expansion, and they're a medical products manufacturer. So I'm real excited about the possibility of entering into that arena. Those have some pretty high value jobs in them, and it's actually clean room space. So it's the most advanced manufacturing setting. And I think that's important for us to continue to diversify that. We have several automotive projects. COVID stopped Volkswagen and that shut down activity for a couple of months. And now all of those projects that were hovering around the electric vehicle are trying to restart. We've had 3 inquiries in the last 2 weeks from companies that have an interest in our property and our community. In addition to that, I mentioned our Exit 20 real estate that's commercially oriented. We're bird dogging a couple of good projects that we think could be anchors from an interstate traffic standpoint. And we've actually got a couple of phone calls booked to talk with the real estate divisions of those companies and to see if we can stimulate a good conversation about that location. We're also beginning to look at some portions of that site, the non-interstate and highway fronting portions, possibly converting into air programming and us trying to market those for regional distribution functions. Essentially, what we're seeing is that with COVID and supply chain issues, you're going to see a big growth in smaller subset regional distribution facilities to kind of address supplying these companies. And that's another target area we're working on. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. We will be hopefully announcing by the end of this month our first project in the Spring Branch Industrial Park. One of the things that you might see as you drive down through there over the next week or two is in addition to our site grading package is the large site that we prepared with help from TVA. We've actually reached agreement with a company on that location, and we're in the process of finalizing details. I'm still under non-disclosures, Jim, so I cannot tell you who or what they do. But you will see work on that site very soon. It's a developer-based building project with a lease back to the company. Company signing a 20-year lease on the building, which is about double the standard in the industry. And they should employ about 200 people. So that'll take about 4 years to tool up. But that project has asked permission for the developer to begin final site preparations for what will be a 250,000 square foot building with plans to expand it to 500,000 square feet. So feeling good. We had projected in our original pro formas for the park a 2-year timeline to land the first proper deal for the park. And at the end of this month, we will have hit 2 years since we completed construction. And so we're on target at this point.
Fantastic. That's fantastic, Doug. Thank you for that report. Doug, I have a question.
Yes.
With the kind of the realization maybe not everything needs to be manufactured overseas at the cheapest place.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hearing, is that coming across in some of the people looking for locations, that there's a realization? And then the second part of that question is, in 5 years, when we have forgot about coronavirus or whatever the plague is, the current plague, are they concerned about it'll swing back overseas again? It's kind of a two-edged sword.
Yes, it is. I think one of the trends we're seeing is that transportation costs to move products from large distances are starting to catch up. And the reality is that the trend had begun to position product closer to the end market a few years ago. This should accelerate supply chain shifts back to the U.S. To support the operations that are here. When you add the political uncertainties we're seeing around the world right now, that's another stimulus for companies to entrench and kind of retract back to home markets. We're still the largest consumer market in the world. China will eventually take us over and pass us. But we're the ones with the wealth that is buying the most product today. And so, there's been a consistent trend, even though I'm not a big fan of it at this point in time. There have been a lot of Chinese companies coming to the U.S. and establishing operations. And that's because their wage rates are going up and getting closer and closer to what the U.S. Wages are. When you take the productivity loss that you get in an unskilled workforce in foreign countries, and couple that with a rising standard of living, it quickly loses its efficiency. So the balance will settle in, and I think the United States, if we maintain good policy. I do have concerns about some of our trade behaviors here lately, and we need to be careful because we're the ones who created this world market. Let's face it. By and large, the world economy operates because of our will. And we can't just walk away from it without severe consequences to our economy over time.
Great. Does anyone have any other questions for Mike and Doug?
I'll just say, Ty.
Rick.
I was just curious if the local businesses have been able to benefit from the federal stimulus packages.
Yes, in fact, we've gotten most of that information from our bankers, but it looks as though all the banks here have been working hard with local business, and we've had several tens of millions of dollars funneled into this county as a result of that programming. Of course, they can't get into any specific details, but what we're hearing is that banks are doing 60 to 80 of those loans a piece. Seems to be what I'm hearing. Isn't that what you've heard, Mike?
Yeah, and I mentioned our grant program. A lot of those, I would say probably 2/3 of those had not received other stimulus money, either because they didn't know how to go about it or kind of came up on a deadline, and for whatever reason they didn't. So we were glad we were able to help them a little bit.
Mike, we were one of the ones that were benefited by your grants.
Right, I knew that.
And we do appreciate that very much. It's not a huge amount, but every bit helps when you're trying to continue, in our case, try to continue to serve people that we can't physically reach.
Right.
And developing a program that would help us get into those places. You covered the expenses of that program, and we do appreciate that.
Well, and that's what we said, even if it paid the rent for somebody or, you know, the electric bill, whatever, you know, every little bit does help. So I was glad you were able to participate in that, Joyce.
And I hope you used the cards and shared them.
Absolutely.
I have one last question and a comment for that. You mentioned about the new suppliers we've had down on South Lee Highway. And just a reminder, a lot of us I know have been patrons of that store, but Cleveland has a fantastic jewel of a little small business on the south end across from Bradley Central, and it's Tina's Tummy Yummies. And it's been a struggle through the coronavirus, but you know, guys, we really do have a great small business there for what she has.
She gave to our gala. She donated
yes, that was a fantastic package.
She's wonderful.
Yes, she is. Mike, last question. You and Doug. This one's a little bit close to near and dear to my heart, but you know, we see the proliferation of the outdoor, like strip mall type things. I hate to use the term strip mall. I think that has kind of a somewhat negative connotation from years past, but this seems like it may kill indoor retail. Yeah. What your opinions on that? What are you seeing and hearing?
Well, I was talking to somebody about that yesterday. I think the death of the mall was already on its way. Yeah. And this is, I know everybody's read about CBL and their struggles and these large retailers that are filing bankruptcy and shutting down. I mean, I think that was already coming, and I think this has just accelerated it. And and I think you're going to see those big malls and not just that, you know, think about, I've heard people talking about like Unum and Blue Cross, like not ever bringing their employees back. So you're going to have these big, not only retail, but you're going to have these other office settings that, you know, what's going to happen to that space? Because that's costing somebody something.
I wondered the same thing about that huge edifice on top of Cameron Hill. You know, what they're going to do.
And I'm thankful. I'm thankful for our mall. What's the transformation? And I know, you know, COVID kind of shut it down too for a while there. But you know, we've got a great shopping center up there now, like where the new TJ Maxx and all that is. And I think that's going to. I think the movie theater brought new life to the mall, and I think our mall can survive, which is again a great thing for our community. I got to say one more thing about Doug. He's a superstar. I already said that. He stayed busy really through this whole time, and I'm so thankful for him, because when he lands that first Spring Branch deal, you know, that's going to get a lot of monkeys off his back, because he hears it all the time, a lot from that county commission especially. But he deserves every win he gets, and I'm so proud he's on my team. I think I told y'all this last time. He made a deal with me. He can't retire till I'm ready. So I'm proud of him. And also, he spoke to my Rotary Club last week and did a bang-up job. So y'all just got about 5 minutes of him. So I'd line him up down the road.
That's a very good idea. And Mike, from one president to another, he's our superstar, not yours.
All right, now, you know, people usually start bragging about an economic developer the day before they give him a pink slip. So,
okay, yeah, not that.
Not
guys, thank you so much, Mike. We appreciate it so much. Appreciate you coming in. Like you said, you and I have been talking about this for a while, and then and then got handed this. So it is
what it is.
It is what it is. But we're making it through. Anyway, guys, if you all is joining the 4-way test,